I'd like to call to order the City of Apache Junction Council meeting of July 2nd, 2024 to order and ask everyone to put their cell phones on silent. The invocation will be led by Vice Mayor Schroeder and Pledge of Allegiance by Council Member Nesser.
Heavenly Father, we'd like to thank you for the opportunity to represent the people of Apache Junction. We ask that you keep an eye on our first responders, police, and fire department. We also ask that you give us a safe and happy holiday season. Thank you.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Here.
Vice Mayor Schroeder.
Present.
Councilmember Cross.
Here.
Councilmember Heck.
Here.
Councilmember Johnson.
Here.
Councilmember Nesser.
Present.
Councilmember Soller.
Here.
You have a quorum, Your Honor.
Thank you. As a reminder, all items under consent agenda will be approved with one motion. If a council member wishes to remove an item for further discussion, the request must be made prior to approving the consent agenda, and it will be moved to new business. Do I have a motion for a consent agenda?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that the consent agenda be approved with the corrections to the minutes of the regular city council meeting from last week, the 18th, June 18th. The correction being that Councilmember Heck and Councilmember Cross were recused only on item number 13, and we consented or approved the remainder of that consent agenda. So with that, I approve or make the recommendation that we approve the minutes.
Second.
Or the
Moved and seconded. Roll call.
Councilmember Nesser.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
Councilmember Cross.
Yes.
Councilmember Heck.
Yes.
Councilmember Soller.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Schroeder.
Yes.
Mayor Wilson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Awards and proclamations. I have one here. Designation of July as National Parks and Recreation Month. Whereas Parks and Recreation encourages physical activities by providing space for sports, hiking trails, swimming pools, and other activities to promote active lifestyles. And whereas Parks and Recreation is a leading provider in the healthy meals, nutrition services, and education. Whereas Parks and Recreation programs are fundamental to the environment and social well-being of our community. And whereas the House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, and whereas Apache Junction recognizes the benefits derived from parks and recreation resource, therefore I, Chip Wilson, Mayor of the City of Apache Junction, do hereby proclaim July as Parks and Recreation Month. Liz, Riley, and Jamie.
Jamie.
And everybody.
And everyone.
Everybody.
We brought a little team, a small team.
I'll come down.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much.
You're not getting out of this.
He doesn't even know. He does know.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you to our small representation of our staff that were able to come tonight. July is pretty fitting to celebrate Parks and Recreation because it's a month where we have the most employed. We employ our youngest workforce all the way up to our oldest workforce. I want to give Some gratitude and a shout out to Matt, who was able to put all the amazing things that we offer into a 3.5-minute video. So
Matthew McNulty.
Matthew McNulty, yes. So I'm going to share that, and we'll be using this for marketing throughout the whole month. You'll see all kinds of fun stuff coming out celebrating Parks and Recreation.
National Parks and Recreation Month. All month long, we will be celebrating by showcasing how your Parks and Rec department fosters a sense of belonging in our community by providing welcoming and inclusive programs, essential services for all ages and abilities, and safe, accessible spaces that help build meaningful connections. It is time to share why Parks and Recreation is where you belong.
Over 280 million Americans visited their local park or recreation facility last year alone. Here at AJ Parks and Rec, we strive to offer spaces for community connection where people can feel like they belong. We offer over 2,200 acres of parks, trails, and open space, along with an award-winning recreation center and an amazing aquatic center. This is where you belong.
The many offerings at the Multi-Generational Center allow for enjoyable movement, as well as bringing people together through community classes, events, and programs. Join us for one of our many fitness programs, or take a stroll on our trek to boost your physical health while connecting with other community members. This is where you belong.
Parks and Recreation is one of the leaders for youth sports, providing opportunities for children of all skills and abilities to play and introduces kids to a wide variety of sports that aim to bring the community together. This is where you belong.
At Super Assistant Shadows Aquatic Center, we offer diverse and inclusive programming, allowing recreation opportunities for all. From swim lessons for babies to adults, water exercise classes, and open swim where families can come beat the heat. This is definitely where you belong.
Parks and Recreation is a leading provider of healthy meals and educational services for all ages. This is where you belong.
Did you know 91% of adults seek park-centered entertainment and social events that allow them to mix and mingle with others? Apache Junction Parks and Rec offers a variety of events including 4th of July, Halloween, holiday event, and Easter. We also have amazing partnerships within our community that help to put on events that include Lost Dutchman Marathon and Lost Dutchman Days. This is where you belong.
AJ Parks and Rec wouldn't be where we are today without our amazing staff. We are so proud of the team we built and the drive that they have every day for their work. Many of our staff have graduated from AJHS and went on to serve the community they grew up in. 40% of our staff have worked for us for over 10 years and have really made this community where they belong.
Parks and Recreation is everywhere, uniting and strengthening our communities. To those that are just moving into AJ and to those who have spent their life living here, we want you to know that Parks and Recreation is where you belong.
Thank you, guys.
Jamie, I have a question for you. How many times did it take Gary to do the no-look basket before he made it?
No, really.
Seriously?
I don't know, I wasn't there. But I'm going to go.
Okay. One sounds good. Thank you.
One.
Take me
Okay.
20.
Yes. Yeah, I was going to say 100 for me. All right. Regional intergovernmental updates. Does anyone have anything? Well, I'm going to do just a couple of little things. Recently appointed by the Maricopa Association of Governments to sit on their Transportation Policy Committee. I'm one of 19 members that are sitting on this board, and we're trying to look at transportation to include, well, there's over 27 cities that are involved in this through Maricopa County and Pinell County, and I'm now one of the representatives to see about, our roads in our general area out here, need to be addressed, and that's one of the things that we're continuing addressing. And then also for the Arizona League of Cities and Towns, I was just recently contacted that I'm going to be now on their resolution committee as well. So I've got two major committees that I'm on in this coming up year, or actually for the next 2 years. Okay. City Manager's report.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, you may notice that I'm not Bryant. Bryant
close.
is on a close. Much needed vacation for Bryant, and it wouldn't surprise me if he's actually tuning in. So I do have a message for him. Close the iPad and walk away, Bryant. Take the much needed rest if you're watching. So we, of course, appreciate him and recognize his absence. But just wanted to inform you of that. Isn't it a great message from our Parks and Rec department? This
Yes.
is where you belong.
Yes.
They truly have something for everyone, and we hope the community knows that and feels that and uses the great programs in Parks and Rec as well as a lot of the other departments. So I just love that video, and thank you, Parks and Rec, for all that you do, and for Matthew McNulty and always being able to take that information and put it in a great format to share with everyone. Mr. Mayor, I don't have any report tonight, so we're going to move into a couple announcements, and we'll invite Eli up to give those announcements.
Sure.
All right. While we're on the topic of Parks and Rec, we have one of our big special events of the year coming up, the 4th of July celebration in 2 days. I get to be around for some of the discussions for this and hear just how hard the Parks and Rec team works to put this together. There's a lot that goes on this day. I'm going to go through some of the highlights real quick. There's a volleyball tournament in the morning. Registration for that starts at 7:15, so you have to arrive that morning to register. And then they invite people to stay and swim, and then pick up things again later in the evening at 6 o'clock, where the gates will open for the main event, where there'll be vendors, game booths, activities, contests, live music, and as the mayor mentioned 2 weeks ago, free watermelon. For anyone that comes. I imagine that it runs out pretty quickly. I'm not sure, but it helps everybody beat the heat and enjoy the day. And then lastly, most importantly, the fireworks start at 8:30 this year. And so we're excited for that. And then just one other event to make mention of. We made a big deal of this a month or so ago. It was about 2 months ago, I think, that we did the first open house for our concentrated downtown master plan update. So we're very excited for the second open house, which will be about a week away, Wednesday, July 10th at the MGC once again. The last open house we did was really well attended. Somewhere between 70 and 90 people was my count. So we're hoping that we get a good turnout again this time, maybe some of the people we didn't catch at the last one, and just help spread the word about this to our parks and businesses and anybody that wants to be involved as we get the wheels turning on, planning the future of the heart of our town. So that's it for this week. Thank you.
Your Honor, that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and I do encourage everyone to come out for that because it's something that, we're looking at doing some improvements and some opening up new ideas and opening new doors, if you want to say. And it's part of the area where we have recently purchased. And it's something I know that it's something a lot of people talk about wanting to do. Let's be involved and put your inputs into this. It's very, very important to get your inputs in. All right. Public hearings, consideration and adoption, application of Series 12 restaurant liquor license for Maggie's Lounge. Jennifer.
Thank you, Your Honor, City Council. Before you this evening is a Series 12 restaurant liquor license application for Maggie's Lounge located at 100 North Plaza Drive. The city received the application June 3rd. We posted the property the following day announcing tonight's public hearing. We have met our 20-day statutory requirement, which seeks public comments for or against the application, to which we have received none. We did send out the request to the 4 departments that we ask for their safety and code compliant inspections. We received the response from the Apache Junction Police Department, Building and Safety Division, Planning and Zoning, Superstition, Fire, and Medical. No one had any reasons for you to deny the application or to hold it back. Development Services, we checked with them. There are permits currently because the building is under renovations. And so while the liquor license can move forward, there will be no business conducted at this site until they receive their final inspection and C of O. The applicant is here this evening. Her name is Penny Porter, if you have any questions for her.
Okay, does anyone have any questions? Okay, I don't see anyone. I'll now open to a public hearing. There's a 5-minute time limit with a 1-minute warning that you'll hear. Please state your name and address for the record. Does anyone like to speak on this? And I see all kinds of movement now, right? Okay, I'll now close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
Your Honor.
Yes.
I move that the application for a new Series 12 restaurant liquor license for Maggie's Lounge located at 100 North Plaza Drive be recommended for approval.
Second.
To the Arizona Department of Liquor Licenses and Control.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Seconded. Roll call.
All right, Councilmember Soller?
Yes.
Councilmember Nesser?
Yes.
Councilmember Cross?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Heck?
Yes.
Mayor Wilson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, we're looking forward to it opening up. Okay, presentation, discussion, and the purchase of record management system. Doug.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I'm Doug Worthgen. I'm the IT director of the city of Apache Junction. A document management system. Go ahead and go to the next slide, please. Thank you. Document management system is organization uses to store documents in the business. They also take many different types of PDFs, images, videos, audio spreadsheets, and a document management stores physical and electronic documents efficiently, securely, and cost effectively. This is an enterprise-wide system, so it'll be throughout all the departments in the city, and also Jennifer will be the owner of this from the city clerk as we do data retentions for different types of documentation, and she oversees that for all the city departments, whether it's police, public safety, or so forth. In document management, we eliminate paper and inefficiencies with storing, locating, and retrieving it, centralized storage, and it will be on premise, meaning that my staff will support it because of sieges with the police department. So we will make sure that it is going to be able to be used for the police department as well, for their public ones. There's also a public portal for it as well, and that means that any type of like development services that want to have public documents out there for the citizens to be able to grab, they can do that electronically as well through a portal, secure portal. So tracking, edits, and retrieving and controlling regulations and accessing it and then searching is the capabilities. Some of the features not on the slide is that it also integrates with our Microsoft Office 365, our SharePoint, and also has the public portal with community users and participants, and it's a secure system. So this is Laserfiche done by ICC. CDS will be the implementer, and Laserfiche is the vendor in which we chose. Other cities have this, and Avondale just recently put this in, and we use their vehicle to be able to procure this. So, any questions?
Yes.
Councilmember Cross?
Thank you.
How are you tonight?
What other cities are currently using this? Is this a program that's used across the nation? Is
It
it
is.
a nation, so have you checked with other cities
Yes,
similar to our
I'm-
size and whatnot to see,
Sure.
Have they had any issues with it? Is it going to be compatible with the new Windows 11 platform and all that other stuff that seems like every year Microsoft updates their stuff, and is that going to cost us an arm and a leg to change?
Those are all valid questions. So I'm part of the Arizona IT Director and CIO group, in which I'm with my other city, sister cities here. Many cities, at least 60% of them, have this particular Laserfiche. It's been in the public market for many years. It's also integrated into the different police systems, which we've already done demos on. We've been researching this one for over 7 months. And Laserfiche, we procured it after Avondale did as well. As far as the nation, the integrator that we're using has been in over 30 states in integrating this. He's been in Arizona State as well. The integrators have, and they have a trainer that's going to come on site and be able to help us with it. As far as compatible with 11, if it's compatible with 10, like we are, Pro, it is compatible with 11. I think the question should be, what's the next Windows version coming out, which is 12, and the compatibility with that as well, right? Because it uses a browser base, we'll be fine on that. And then also it's more about our storage. We've invested in our storage in the last couple of years to where we have plenty of space for that. And by not running 2 systems, one for the city and one for the police department, and having one system, that's how we're starting off with this process. Because the way you do document management is you grow it, and then you add on to it later on. So this is something they've been asking for way before I started 2.5 years ago.
When I got here.
It took a little time to build the system and the platform to be able to support it, and to have time to be able to manage it. So that's kind of where we're at with it right now. But it is searchable, and that's the main thing with this. And then also, just like utility billing just did with their citizen-centric portal, where their citizens now can be able to go online and be able to pay bills and do things like that. This is the next step for us for document management, where our citizen can get to their documents easier instead of coming down and asking for it.
Yes.
Doug, in terms of the expense, the first year, as I understand it, is $56,000 plus for the first year.
Yeah.
And every year thereafter is 28,000 and change. Is that correct? Every single year after that?
Yeah, everything's subscription based. Unfortunately, Councilman Hackett's gone to that. So it is $28,000 a year. The additional cost is for the setup fees and for the training fees that ICC CDS is for helping us with it. Also, we have documents. If we need to scan them in and images for that, we have some funds set aside for that as well, in case we need to do that. But it's basically taking your AS400, your System 36, and all your legacy databases and putting them into a searchable format. So it's a large task. So I have an IT project manager. His name is Don Wheeler. He's been with us a year or two. He actually did the utility billing for water, so he'll be managing this one and overseeing that with Jennifer's folks.
Is that, I must admit I didn't notice, is it just for, is there a specific contract period, or is this as long as we choose to participate?
It's on-prem, so that means it's going to be housed in our location, okay? But the subscription to be able to use the licensing, that's how they work with subscription-based. So, yep.
That brings up another question.
Sure.
If
you got
we,
5 more.
5 more, okay. So if we decide to go to a different vendor 10 years from now, what happens to all of our data? Is it locked to where we can't use it, get to it? Or
no, that's a great question.
Is it proprietary to we maintain control of it from now on?
So the data is residing on ours. As far as being lockable or not, we can always export the data, and we do backups on a regular basis anyhow. So the data is retained here. You can switch vendors with it on importing and exporting into the different system if we need to. The way the databases are, the legacy databases we have, we had a DBA before he retired, was able to take all the police historical legacy databases, put it in a searchable format, so this process is going to be easier with the police data as we go forward and moving that. So that is our data. It's not going to be locked up if we can't pay it or if we decide to go different ways. We migrate it onto a different platform if that's what we choose.
Cool.
Yes.
The $20,000 a year after the first initial, if they upgrade stuff, that $20,000 covers that upgrades if they upgrade their system?
Yeah, I'd like to be able to explain that every software's maintenance programs as they always change. Like a maintenance software, you get all your upgrades included. So subscription base, you get all your upgrades included with that. It's also based on the users that we use, so we can make those adjustments, whether it be less or more, as we go into it and see how many people are using it and things like that. So concurrent users is the way that a subscription is, so we can control that a little bit as we go forward.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, great question.
Another question on that same topic.
Sure.
I did notice that, of course, the patches and updates are included in that. But major software updates, should they up their version, it does say may have associated service charges to install, upgrade, or mitigate or migrate everything to the newer release level. What level is this, and how current is it? And how often do you know of that they update their versions?
Right. So their version updates are every 3 years, is what I was told. This one, it will be the one that's their release now. They usually have one in a status which isn't releasable, but that's the one that they usually share for demos and things like that. It's typically one version behind is usually what the release is, typically.
Well, I'd rather somebody else do the beta testing anyway.
Yeah, right. I don't like to do that. We're not on 11, by the way. So, because of that.
Yes. One more question.
Yes, sir.
At least for me, one more question.
He's down to 5, too.
So being that we're in our new fiscal year, being this is a $56,000 expense, you may have mentioned it, I didn't hear. Have we prepared were we prepared for this expense in the operating budget?
Yeah, it was part of the budget approval process.
Okay.
Yeah. This was actually extended from FY24 where you approved it.
Okay.
This was an extended
So we can
CIP
carry over those
project.
funds year?
Well, we planned for this expenditure in this budget. We didn't get to it last year, and we made sure the funds were available in the budget that you adopted.
One more.
Yep.
Sorry.
No problem.
Is part of this so that our citizens, if they need to get something, if they get, as we modernize more and more, that through like a share file, something can be sent to them rather than them getting in the car and driving down for it?
So actually, it works kind of like a public records request. So they can word search anything they're looking for. They can put in cross streets, and it'll pull up all the documents that are not confidential, and they'll have to sort through what they're looking for. And they can define into deeper levels the location that they're looking for or the building permit they're looking for. So this will reduce, hopefully, my staff doing public records request, Joel doing checking, other departments grabbing the resources on that public records request. So anything that is to the public, which is a tremendous amount of records, they will have access to search for themselves.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Any other? While we're talking public records requests, what about redactions?
Yeah, it does redactions.
Yes.
It does?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it does the redactions.
I figured it would.
Yeah.
So I actually implemented this in 2003 or 2004 with a previous city. And the version that I am now seeing is very similar, but has a lot more power behind it. So it definitely has been around for quite a while.
Mr. Mayor, this will be on your consent agenda on July 16th.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Sir.
Presentation discussion on proposed agreement between the City of Apache Junction and Software and Company to purchase mobile command vehicle.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Happy to be here with you guys tonight, spend the evening. One of the things that we're going to be talking about is modernizing, like Councilmember Johnson said, and one of the things that we're going to be talking about is the mobile command vehicle that we're requesting to purchase. What a mobile command vehicle is it's a specialty vehicle that's mobile, that we can take to remote areas, which we have a lot of remote areas that we go to here in Apache Junction. One of the things that it is used for is major investigations, special events, incidents that include things as homicide investigations, fatal traffic collisions, tactical situations, any major disaster, whether it's flooding, wildfires. These are things that it's a mobile command unit, also used as what's called an emergency operations center, where we can take all of our resources to localize it in a centralized area where other agencies, including fire department, federal partners, or even other local law enforcement agencies can come to an area where we can set up a mobile command post. We've used it for special events, and it gives us a closer eye. The technology that we use in it really does enhance the ability of our officers and our operations in making these things safer and to make sure we do better investigations. It increases our ability to have on-site management in a localized area with command, even if there's a time where we need to have city management come out there to help out with anything that we may need. The technology that we're talking about is something that is new in these command vans, that we are going to be having a dispatch console in there as well. So we will be able to have our communications mobile if necessary in case of some major investigation or operation or disaster where we need to have some type of mobile radio out there as well. It's easily deployed. It has a lot of different things in it that helps with management of a scene or any type of investigation. So we do currently have a command van. It's a 2003 Winnebago. It's very outdated. It does not function like it should. The technology is completely outdated, and it's over 20 years old. This is it here. It's basically sitting out at the yard right now. We use it when we have to, but we get Public Works, our fleet, to have to get it started for us, and it takes a little bit of time. So we're hoping to modernize things. We're looking at this new command van, mobile command vehicle, to really make Apache Junction stand out on these types of investigations. So we are requesting to enter into a contract with Safeware Incorporated to purchase this new mobile command vehicle. It is at a price of $1,787,302 and some change. The funds will be from the ARPA funding, or American Rescue Plan, that will be used for this, so it's not going to be coming out of general funds. This is from the federal money that is currently in possession of Apache Junction right now. It is on a state cooperative contract. We've worked with our Public Works and our police department to design and build the best vehicle that we can have here in Apache Junction for our city. And we feel that this is something that will support our operations and continue to make the Apache Junction Police Department a very capable police department to handle any situation on our own. And are there any questions?
Your Honor?
Yes.
Chief, excuse me. For the sake of the public and those watching on television, answer for us, if we did not have a mobile command unit and you had to do everything from next door at the police station, you know, the dispatch or lab or anything that you had listed that you can do here, what would be the disadvantage to our community as far as safety and everything's concerned if we didn't have a mobile command unit?
Well, as time has changed, we've learned in law enforcement capabilities, and timeliness is everything. Time in an investigation is paramount, from catching a dangerous suspect or to preventing a large-scale disaster at any type of special event. This gives us the capability to have all our resources at another location where we can handle these types of situations, major criminal investigations, as well as any major disaster or special event. Do we do it now? Yeah, we do. It is difficult, and as technology changes, as different types of crime changes, as we see violent crime going up, lone wolf attacks on special events or anything that's out there, we want to make sure we have the best technology and capabilities for our police department.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor. Yes. This is kind of for Matt. Matt, this is also for TV Land in here. This money does sunset, does it not? and there are certain regulations and certain places we can spend this money. It's not like we can just start building sidewalks with this thing.
That's correct, Vice Mayor Schroeder. There are very stringent guidelines on this. One of those options is to use it for things that help you respond to emergency situations like pandemics, like everything that this mobile command unit would be used for. So it is definitely within those guidelines, and there have been many police departments across the nation that have used it for this exact type of purchase as well.
And if we don't spend this money, it goes away.
It just goes back to the feds'
Okay.
piggy bank.
Yeah, thanks for that question. We have worked with our finance director who made sure with our federal auditors that this was approved. It is an approved item for purchase. We have worked with this company and they assure us that everything will be delivered in time to make sure we don't lose that funding.
When is the expected time that this would be ready?
Sometime it'll be the summer of '26. Takes a while, but we hope to get it in December of '25. But more than likely, latest it'll be the summer of '26. So 2 years from now. That's how long it takes to get these vehicles.
Yes.
So where is it getting assembled at?
I believe it is in Oklahoma? No, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
The other state.
Mayor. Yes. Can you go back to the photo of it, the one you have
Yes.
there?
Oh, yeah.
One of the biggest pluses of this vehicle is that camera that goes up in the back. The old van doesn't have it. This one does. That is great for your big events, your 4th of July, your Blues and Brews. You can see things and monitor things. Plus, like the chief said, if something went down and we lost our communication center over here, you can communicate out of this. It has its own generators, everything to run a major call. So it is a great backup tool for anything that would happen to the infrastructure of our police department, especially the dispatch center. I work with these all the time, and they are essential for police nowadays, and this is going to tie into the overall moving us forward to the future and being able to quickly respond to any type of incident, be it a police incident, a city incident. You know, parks want to have a big event. We can have it out there to make sure that everybody's safe. So I'm glad that we can use federal funding for it.
Yes.
Chief, I want to refer back to Lost Dutchman days from last year. If I recall correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, you set up an incident command center at the Multi-Gen Center.
We did.
Am I correct? And is that because the mobile command vehicle we had would not have been able to, would have been adequate to be able to have that set up there?
Partially, yes. So, and when you talk about incident command, it's good to have it off-site, but you want to have also forward command, which is at the location, which is where these vans are. Our van was there, but as you remember, we didn't have power. It was just a vehicle we could go in and out of, but there was no power to the vehicle.
Right. Just from my experience, because you were kind enough to include the mounted rangers in that I think having that kind of opportunity to coordinate information between the police and fire and all the other supporting organizations, I think makes a huge difference. And so I think having something like this in these big events, just in view of some of the, the issues that are coming to light in current years and what's happened at large events, having something like this that would be able to coordinate a lot of different people and support services, I think would be very, very important to this city and to the public safety for sure. So I am absolutely in favor of this.
Thank you, Councilman.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Looking at the specifications of this thing, it's incredible, the amount of equipment and attention to detail. It's a game changer when it comes to having your police force on wheels to this degree, and to be able to serve our city anywhere, whether it be here or all the way down south.
Correct.
This is what it takes.
I agree with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you know, a lot of work did go into the detail of this, like Councilmember Cross said, with IT, with Public Works, and one of the things is it's on a frame and chassis that our Public Works fleet is familiar with, so there's no new training on that. And this will go to consent in 2 weeks on July 16th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So I don't have any direction to staff.
Mr. Mayor, we have one more item.
Oh.
I don't even have to present.
I guess I want to go on here.
Sorry.
Sorry about that. Presentation,
Wah,
discussion of a contract for sports field lighting retrofit projects. Liz.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor Wilson, members of council, and thanks again, just on behalf of our department, for your recognition of Parks and Recreation Month and all the support that you've given us. Through all my years of being here in this city, we've had such a great support of council as well as our city management, and we just definitely couldn't do what we do without all of you. So tonight we're here to talk about it's phase 2 of our Prospector Park Relight project. So we're really excited to keep moving forward on this. So just as a quick snapshot of a reminder, and a lot of you heard a lot of this last year, but our city sports fields were built, many years ago, almost 40 years ago for some of them. All lighting was the old metal halide, just not very energy efficient and had either little to no shielding. Since that time, nowadays, there's just more energy efficient lighting that's out there. And then we really have tried to have a big focus on dark sky friendly options, especially in that north part of the community where the individuals who live in that area really value that night sky. And we've really tried to respond to that. That as we look to replace lighting in facilities that are ready for those updates, that we would do it with dark sky friendly lighting. The Little League Complex was our first one to convert to LED in 2019. That was done through a partial grant from the Diamondbacks. It's been on the department and the city CIP list to phase all of our fields to LED lighting, mainly for energy efficiency, but also to phase out some of that old lighting and then go to dark sky friendly lighting, as well as lighting that can be on a centralized system that we can use for our reservation system and all of our different users out there. Last year, thanks to your support, we implemented phase 1 of doing Prospector Park, fields 1 and 2, and I just had a couple of quick quick photos of before and after at those facilities.
It's all the difference in the world.
It's really good.
So imagine there's a lot of folks that live out in those areas, so those lights they see, the park's been there for a really long time, but just being able to shield some of that and actually have better lighting. So it's more energy efficient, as we said, but it's actually also better for the players. We've had a lot of, really great positive comments from our ball field, or all of our ball players, and we're really happy with what we saw at fields 1 and 2. So we will be continuing to work with the same contractor. Musco is a proprietary product. So having them, they have the best system for shielded, dark sky friendly lighting. And then that's the system that we already had in place, starting with the Little League fields and all of those. We want to continue and have the same system throughout all of our parks. So this project will be for fields 3 and 4. So to complete the softball complex. It's installation of just those light fixtures. So this time we don't have to replace poles. That's why you'll see that this project is substantially less. As I said, it completes the softball complex. It does include the TLC for LED, and that's basically more of the ball tracker technology, things that make, looking into the lights and all that whenever you're hitting a ball or playing a little bit safer. It's technology that they only have that's patented. It's certified dark sky friendly sports field lighting design. That's a mouthful, but we went through all of that last year. We did all of the fields at once so that we only had to pay our application fee one time. And they certified the design for everything that's at Prospector Park. And so then as we implement it, it will be, as long as it's implemented per design. And the Dark Sky International, they double check that for us. They will all be certified and stamped dark sky friendly. It includes installation and programming of all the Musco remote controls and monitoring system as well. So, just some of the big key components, we will realize a really significant savings in our electrical costs annually. We're excited to be able to really gauge that. It's hard to tell on half the fields and how much energy we're using, but we'll be able to tell a lot better this next year after we're fully completed. It does eliminate the maintenance costs for the next 25 years. So all of these lights are part of a warranty. They're all part of maintenance is included. When there's things that need to be changed, we're not calling an electrician and getting a boom lift and doing all of those changes. They do everything for the next 25 years. And then anticipated install, again, just like last year, our goal is to do it in October during overseeding when we have a break in play. Last year it dragged on a little bit just due to some permitting and some other things that we had to take care of and finalize with design, but this year we will definitely be having a head start. The total project cost for Fields 3 and 4 is $471,000, $649.50. That includes a 5% owner-controlled contingency. Just so you know, we didn't spend a dime of our contingency last year, but we like to put it in there just in case there's something that is unforeseen whenever they go to do the install. This is in your general fund, the budget that was adopted this year. We did put in $650,000. So when we first went out and looked at this, we were thinking it would be a little bit more, but because we were able to add the lights for the center area as part of last year's project, that cut down on what we have to do this year as well. So here's where it gets a little bit trickier and why we're bringing it to this meeting to discuss with you a little bit more. So we wanted to do something a little bit different this year. So we have some opportunities for future grants. And we won't know about those grants for the next month or so. And so we can't finalize those or say we for sure have this certain amount of money in hand. But all the grants that we're looking at require a match. And so it's really important that we look at, are there ways where we can stretch our $650,000 to not just do the 2 fields that we're planning for this year, but can we do those other CIP projects through grant funds? And so we're always looking for that opportunity throughout the city, but certainly in our department. So working with Veregy, this contract is providing an opportunity. We worked with Joel's office to add some language in there so that way we would be saying we're going to do Fields 3 and 4. That's project 1. But it provides us an opportunity within the contract to say that we could also do Prospector Park multipurpose fields and the Superstition Shadows Park ball field if grant funds are acquired. And so it gives us that opportunity to do that, to lock in the pricing now. So we all know that as we look at prices 3 months from now, 6 months from now, sometimes those change. So it's a good opportunity for us to go ahead and say, yes, if we can get the other money, it will not be extra money coming out of the general fund. It would only be if we were able to generate money through several grants. We do have multiple grants that are usable for this type of a project, energy efficiency and different types of park projects. The prices are up there. The multipurpose field is a little over $436,000. Both of these include contingency. Superstition Shadows Park, unfortunately, is a big ticket one because we would have to replace many of the light poles that are there. They are very old and they are in a failing system so that over the next 2 or 3 years, they have to be replaced at some point in time. Both of those are on our CIP project. This contract allows us the opportunity that if we were to be able to find that additional outside funding, that we could go ahead and complete those projects ahead of schedule and get them off of our CIP list and have that money for future things. The contract total with all options is 1.7 or almost $1.8 million. It's a lot of money in the contract, and that feels like a whole lot of money. But our part that we're really agreeing to is the I'm sorry, it's on the other page, but in that $400,000 range, and the rest of it would be through grant funds if we were able to secure those. Oops, I just went backwards. And that's what I have tonight. tonight, the plan is that we would receive your questions tonight, look over the contract. We're still working with our vendor on it. We want to make sure that you're comfortable with something like this and see what your issues or questions might be. We would bring it back in a couple of weeks. If there are no issues or problems to change to it, we would probably be bringing it back to a consent. If there are any changes by the contractor or by that you guys would like us to pursue, then we would work on those and we would bring it back to another discussion.
Your Honor.
Yes.
So Liz, there's an argument to be had that dark sky lighting produces a level of public safety. Gets rid of the glare. It's like daylight when you walk through there. Would you agree with that?
Yes. Yes.
So with that being said, is there any way you can get your hands on some of this ARPA funds?
So we are meeting with Leslie, and we've identified a lot of projects that are potential ARPA. Unfortunately, we don't feel, so in our initial look, it doesn't seem that this is eligible for ARPA funds, but there are others. So we've shared the CDBG fund is certainly eligible. We have several state park grant funds. We are meeting with the auditors when they're here in I think they're here like July 15th. We'll be meeting with them to go over all of our projects as well. And this is one that we have shared. If they say yes, it qualifies, then definitely those are some that would rise to the top of the ARPA fund. So did I say Leslie?
You did.
I'm so sorry. Angeli, our new finance director. I apologize. I hope she's not listening. Angeli has been really great about working with all the department heads and with our projects that we have, either existing ones that are coming out of general funds or ones that we can't fund yet, to look at each one of them to see if they would be eligible for ARPA funds. So we are looking at that. And so that's actually why we're in this situation of putting in this sort of, if we receive funds, we have a lot of potential opportunities, but we won't know the final of those for another month or two. And we really need to get fields 3 and 4 started so that way everything is in order so that we can start those in October.
So it's actually kind of remarkable how close the cost is from your lighting to a mobile command center.
It is, isn't it?
That's where she can find her money.
Well, from what I understand, even if the police department is getting $1.75 million, isn't there like a few more $1 million left in this thing?
There are.
So we need to really start putting on the think tanks and
Yeah.
we need to spend this money.
Yeah, and Your Honor, we in fact, we have a meeting in the morning to review a lot of what Liz just described and start finalizing some of what those things that we want to present the auditors, make sure it's all clear, and we're actually going to plan for more, so just in case, the auditors or the feds come back and say, oh, that wasn't eligible, we don't want to give back a dime to the federal government. So we're really on top of it right now.
Yes.
So Liz, or maybe Liz and Matt, obviously this would be a capital expenditure, correct? So how does that work? Because it looks like this is not, was this whole project, is that part of the list of capital items? Everything here was?
Yes, Your Honor. Well, let me start again. Just the fields 3 and 4 were part of your budget that you adopted. It is listed in the capital projects. It was the Prospector Park softball lighting for $650,000, and we're getting it for less. But these other projects that I just listed are part of our ongoing, so we have CIP planned out for the next 5 years. It's part of every year. Our goal was to do one a year, so that way we could spread it out over time and pay for it gradually. The grants that we have coming up make it an opportunity so that we could do them in advance. And so there would be nothing preventing us from doing that. We aren't asking for more money out of the general fund.
Okay, so that if you're able to get the grant monies approved, there will be capital funds available to cover the balance of that's necessary?
That's correct. So in our capital budget, we plan for multiple funding sources that those capital items we anticipate being spent on: general fund, HERF, grant funding, and we always plan for also a contingency amount in grants. I forget what it was this year, but in the past we've done as much as $5 million or even $10 million in anticipation that we're going to get more grants than we even help, or the feds come out with a new ARPA type program. And we already have the budget authority from the city council to spend it if it's on our capital plan.
Okay.
And we're within that budgeted amount.
Yes. I want to thank you for the dark skies, because I think everybody sitting up here has had citizens tell them how important dark skies are to our community. And we know the Legacy Sports Facility, the glowing nightmare down south in Mesa. Thank God that we're reducing our light signature, because our population wants dark skies and want to be able to go out and look up and see the stars.
Yeah.
If you get anywhere near that facility in Mesa, you can't see anything, but it's like being out in the middle of the daytime at midnight. So
Yes. In fact, Peralta Regional Park cannot get their dark sky rating without doing their night readings at midnight, because it has to be when those are down. It affects our dark sky actually here. Wow. So very interesting.
But thank you for moving forward with dark.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys who have made this a priority for the department. I think it's been great.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, no, now I can say no direction to staff. And I'm now going on to our call to the public. I'd like to remind everyone, the call to the public is a courtesy and not required by law. It's a time for the public to express requests, communication, comments, and suggestions. The request speak forms must have been completed and handed to the city clerk before the city manager's report. All issues shall be presented in a professional manner without personal attacks. Underneath the open meeting law, council cannot engage in a discussion on the issues presented, but may respond to criticism, may direct staff to follow up with the speaker directly, or place the matter on a future agenda for a council discussion. There's a 3-minute time limit for each speaker. And I have two. Andre.
He's going to speak tonight.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council people. Been a while. I feel an obligation to come up here every now and then and entertain you. So my issue tonight is a little bit of road safety on Royal Palm. Royal Palm between Old West and Southern is a divided road with islands in the middle. 3 street lights are on it from Desert, and there's one on Mesquite, and then there's one on Southern. And then north of Desert, there's a whole bunch of them in front of the apartments there. Problem is, dark skies. When you're driving down Royal Palm and you want to make a left turn, you have the cutouts through the islands to go. Well, when you're an old guy like me, starting to get night blind and everything like that, it's real hard to pick out the left turn because there's nothing that marks it. So I propose that we put a reflector at the corner of the island as you approach that left turn, so your headlights pick it up, you know where to turn. Like Granada, you can't make a right turn. If you're heading southbound, you can't make a right turn because there is no right turn. So you can make a left turn, so there's no real marking telling you where Granada is until you get right up to it, and then you can kind of pick out the curb. So if you're heading southbound and you put a reflector on each northwest corner of the island, your headlights would pick it up and you can make the turn. You head northbound, you put it on the southeast corner. Making right turns, you got the street signs, you can pick those up fairly well, but a reflector on each street sign pole about halfway up will pick out the street immediately. So, safety issue, ARPA will pay for it, no problem. So, that's all I got.
Thank you. Donna Carr?
Donna Carr, Apache Junction resident. And I talk about something that's important to the people of Apache Junction as well as the rest of the people in Arizona, and that is the bill that Hobbs has passed on riding your toys, such as side-by-sides, quads, dirt bikes, stuff like that. I don't know about anybody else, but I learned how to ride on back roads, how to learn how to drive. I've been riding a dirt bike since I was a kid. My first license was a motorcycle license. Why should I have to take a safety course now to be able to ride my toy? And anybody that's under the age of 12, if they're caught riding something, driving something, their parents will get fined. If you're between the ages of 12 and 15, you will get fined. So I think this bill is crazy because, I don't know, I have more control over my dirt bike than someone who's riding a horse that has a mind of its own. And I don't think that it's right. So I think that the bill needs to be changed so that people can still go out there and ride. Most of these famous dirt bike riders, they learn riding a dirt bike in the middle of nowhere. My kids learned how to ride a dirt bike in the middle of nowhere. They brought a shovel and a pick with them and made their own jumps. And then they started racing. My boys had sponsors from FMF, EVS, Kelly's Kawasaki. And the thing is they learned in the desert. They learned in the middle of nowhere. So that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Okay, council have any comments?
Yes.
Yes.
Can we look into the Andre Meeks issue?
Yes, I'll have Public Works staff check and see what the standard guidelines are, and we'll go from there.
It may be something as simple as painting the curb with a reflective paint versus putting on reflectors, so.
Yeah, I'll ask staff to look into it.
Thank you.
Okay. I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you.